There we go. So these are the brackets of Red Bull. All these guys streamed here. We had Dogão, Rusardo, Oba, Goku. Oba and Goku actually streamed that. A lot of streams in Spanish and so on. So if you access Wikipedia, you can get access to the link of many streamers, many games, many players, a lot of things, interviews. So there's lots of content here if you are an average Age of Empires enjoyer. Later, I want to take a look on the interviews from Liereyy. Here they are. And let me see. This one was about the group phase, and this other one, group elimination day 2. We can take a look on those interviews later, as a matter of fact, to understand what Liereyy was thinking and how he played it. But first, let's go for the games. There we go, there we go, there we go. Okay. So Liereyy fought versus MBL, versus Winchester, and versus Hira. So let's start with his games versus MBL and watch those to see what he did. So Liereyy versus MBL, that's the first game. Let's go. I'm not fully sure that those games are in the order that they were played, but I got all the games at least.
It's a follow.
So here in the first game, which was not the first, because this is not the map of the first game, we had Liereyy playing Aztecs versus MBL playing Ethiopians. This is very interesting, guys, because one thing that I noticed from Red Bull is that Meso civilizations were used by both Hira and Liereyy in a very effective way. So these players just did a great job playing here with Meso civilizations. Even as a matter of fact, in the finals, one of the players banned Aztec and the other banned Mayans. So neither Liereyy or Hira wanted their opponent to have access to either one of the main Meso civilizations. That is already enough to tell about how strong they are. So here in the beginning, as Aztecs, he just dropped a second barracks, put more. He's still keeping only 4 villagers on the gold, walling, and already making some Eagle Scouts. An early market. As for MBL, he's walling, and now he is even coming forward with villagers, dropping a second range. This is going to be interesting. A small fight here. Liereyy upgraded the armor, now he's bringing villagers forward, denying MBL the access to the towers, fighting back the army with the eagles that are now fully upgraded. So those eagle scouts now have both attack and defense upgraded, and he is making eagles non-stop from 2 barracks with 7 villagers assigned to the gold. MBL is taking on a huge fight, and he is Ethiopian, so his archers are just too strong. Ooh, that was good. We had here some good fight for MBL, but Liereyy was still defending, massing eagles, and now clicked to Castle Age. So one of the reasons why I think Meso civs are being that popular is that you don't have to invest a lot in the beginning. You already have 1 barrack, so maybe making a second to increase the time which you are going to output the eagles. And the eagles are easy for your eco because they cost too low food, only 20 food, which means that if you just keep making new farms, you are eventually going to click up faster than your opponent in most of the times. A 3rd barracks, extra walls, MBL bringing extra views. Whoa, like, that's a lot of commitment from MBL, too much views here. Liereyy is coming forward with the eagles. MBL making more and more towers. He truly wants the map control. Liereyy bringing villagers forward, but no. This is being too costly because the towers can end at the villas, but those were still feudal age towers, so Liereyy was able to take them down by only massing eagles. So whenever we have access to the Red Bull quill, go for the Aztecs and play full eagles. That's a very solid style for this map. Do you guys also want another reason why this eagle approach is so effective? I think that one of the reasons is that if you play a regular game, a random map game, one of the most popular openings are the Drush and the Man-at-Arm. And in both of those openings, you are actually creating a counter to the Eagles. So if your opponent tries to go straight Eagles and you have like 4 Men-at-Arms, he is not going to take out your Men-at-Arms. But in Empire Wars, it doesn't work for your opponent to play with Men-at-Arms, because by the time he starts making the Men-at-Arms, you can already drop an archer range, you can already be walled, so you do not have the correct timing to go for Men-at-Arms. So no one's doing the counter for the Eagles. Everyone's just playing either Knights or Archers. That's one of the reasons this is so effective. Makes total sense to me. Now we see MBL trying to do some great micro here, using Ethiopian Archers, but that's the issue. Once the Eagles close the gap, they are too difficult for the Archers to deal with. MBL is still doing a good trade, but look at the amount of micro involved here. MBL is constantly microing his archers, and Liereyy probably just patrolled. He's not taking an eagle out, he's not doing anything else. He just patrolled the eagles and let them finish the job. So they are way easier to use. And since you do not have to commit yourself to keep microing the eagles non-stop, you have extra time to go for things like booming, siege, and other macro decisions. And there we go, a lot of siege here from Liereyy. MBL trying to defend, Liereyy pressuring. Good trade for MBL, 1 for 0, 1 for 1. Eagles trying to raid the back line, Eagles trying to raid in the center, and eventually he resigns because he has no counter.
Hey Stark, we just got a donation, man. Thank the donator, close that game and let's have a beer.
Hello, boss man.
Hello.
Don't worry, I got rid of the problem earlier. Wink, wink.
Okay.
Hopefully your business will resume back to normal.
Thanks for that, Mr. Rayone. Everything is correct now. Everything is correct. Thank you for that. At Red Bull 3, Liereyy usually destroyed those eagles with knights and crossbows. That's a good point, Mr. Extractor. What has changed since then for Mesosiv not to be countered anymore? Here, guys, we also had another game, which was Koreans versus Chinese. So Liereyy opened Koreans versus Chinese on runestones. Chinese considered by many one of the strongest civs. MBL opened using the stable. Liereyy opening here using the range. Why Koreans? Well, the main reason is that your Field of Age is quite strong since you have free padded archer armor. So he just needs to upgrade fletching and he will already have +1/+1 archers, which are very difficult to deal with. And on the Castle Age, he can try to use maybe wagons if he makes a transition to stone, or just keep playing with crossbows, like fully upgraded crossbows. I question a bit this decision from Liereyy, but let's see this game. I haven't watched it. MBL picking up some views with the scouts. Liereyy only now walling, so good job here for MBL. Trying to raid him. Liereyy defended quite well as well. Advancing now, as I told you, those archers are fully upgraded, but MBL is already answering with skirmishers. So far, no problem for MBL whatsoever. Defending, forcing Liereyy to wall, to taking on bat walls, picking villagers here and then, so there's a trivial advantage for MBL, but Liereyy was able to reach Castle Age. A few skirmishes for Liereyy. Transitioning into the second archer range, he's not on stone, so he is going to play crossbows. MBL, well, also added the second range and is playing skirmishers. That's a very fast Castle Age for Liereyy. And right now, MBL has to deal with fully upgraded, like +2/+2 crossbowmen, which are hard to deal with. But he will try to deal with them using elite skirmishers. Liereyy now already mixing in some onagers and booming. So yeah, regular style for Korean. MBL might have to add his own siege here to defend himself. He's right now losing archer range. Liereyy is booming 2, now 3 DCs. He's not advancing so fast. He's just slowly killing every building from MBL, and he knows that both of MBL's goats, the main one and the secondary, are in the front, so he will eventually have to fight back for it. MBL trying to raid with elite skirmishers. Elite skirmishers getting now finally countered by a few siege. Liereyy massing more siege, fixing his economy to go to the Imperial Age. Around 33 views, about to click up. MBL adding lots of stables. And starting to make light cavalry. That's interesting. So MBL wanted to make a transition to play with elite skirmishers and light caps. That can work. Ooh. Okay, well defended. Small fight. No secret on his army composition. Now his arbalests, his crossbowmen also have the 4th armor, so they can endure a lot more. He's upgrading them fully, only chemistry has to still kick in. A forward castle, more and more archer ranges. Taking down those arbalests is not an easy task. MBL trying to go up. Knights trying to do some counterattack. Oh, a keep tower. That's right, he's Korean, guys, so his towers are also strong. A lot of keep towers here for Liereyy. This might slow down MBL's strength here with the stables. Defensive keep towers. Lots of arbs. Arbalest aggression, light cabs to the defense. Despite attempts of MBL to defend, he just couldn't and was eventually defeated. So Koreans, well, they can work. Not the best game from Liereyy here, but still very solid one, and he defeated the Chinese. I think that people just realized how strong Meso can be. And Knights and Crossbowmen, honestly, Knights and Crossbowmen have some issues. The first one is you are having to invest into 2 different kinds of units. So if you want to have the full attack potential for your crossbowmen, you have to make fletching, you have to make bodkin arrow, maybe ballistics according to the situation. If you want to have at least average knights, you might need 1 or 2 upgrades. So unless you can afford all those upgrades, Aztec can just fully upgrade their eagles and smash you. Well, I like that one. We watched this, we watched that one. Let's see now, Magirs versus Celts on Frigid Lake. I'll be honest, guys, I have played this before, this map, and I did exactly the strategy that MBL is trying to do. Let me work on about this strategy. On Frigid Lake, as you can see, there your town center is on a lake. So despite the villagers that are here eating the sheep and the shorefish around the TC, all the other villagers are far away from the TC. The views on the goat, the views on the mill, you cannot add farms that are not close to the TC. So MBL's strategy was trying to exploit that by delaying his wood upgrade in order to make 3 early militias and then fight using men-at-arms. And the reason that it should be annoying is because he's Celts, so those men-at-arms are faster, and his enemy probably has all the villagers far away from the TC. If you take a look on Liereyy, berries far away from the TC, lumberjacks far away from the TC, same for the goat, and he was trying to start here with scouts. But Liereyy was fast enough to start attacking MBL militias before he couldn't even upgrade them, so a nice counter. And then you had Magirs just dominating the game from here. MBL trying to fish, but it's difficult to fish when your enemy already has a dock. And Liereyy will now start counter-raiding MBL using the Magyar Scout Cavalry, which has 1 extra attack. Oh. So Liereyy raiding, MBL trying to start some archers, Liereyy already sending his archers forward to counter MBL spearmen. MBL has a very static composition here with archers and spearmen.
It's a follow!
Yeah. Liereyy had a lot more mobility here on his comp and was just spamming new farms and new scouts and new archers. So from this point he has a huge villager lead and MBL can barely counter him. What MBL is trying to do is to dominate the center once again, while he defends on land as he can, but he's constantly having to walk with the views or losing some views. Liereyy now spamming here more and more scouts and archers. MBL has like no way to defend, he's just losing views and views and views, trying to win the center. That's the only thing that he still has, but he's idle big time and his castle age won't mean much. I think that MBL still did a good job trying to hold that, but getting 10 villagers behind and with a civilization that has no mobility is just exactly what you don't want to have. Liereyy booming, 2 TCs, 3 TCs, and eventually he won some fights and MBL realized that he wouldn't be able to keep chasing +2 knights and maybe even some cav archers afterwards. I believe that his strategy was bad. I tried this man-at-arms stuff before, but it can be easily countered by either archer or scout, so it seems a good idea and you can surprise your opponents, but once it's known, it's not something that's going to surprise anyone. And to finish the series, there's a Tartar versus Indians game on Ring Fortress. I want to take a look on this one very carefully. I believe that Indians are one great civ for Empire Wars, but I will talk about that a bit more. I just need some small tip of coffee. By the way guys, I think that we should steal some of Lierey's builds afterwards. So this is the map Ring Fortress, and do not mistake yourselves. Despite being a map where you start with a lot of palisades, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this map was, wait, what if I just connect all the palisades here? I will probably have a good wall to defend my TC, right? But that's not the point. First, you would waste too much time trying to find all the small holes here between the palisades. Second, some of those palisades are in terrible placement, like this one. Imagine if you complete that. You are just beneath the hill. Your opponent comes here with like 5 cav archers or 2 knights and he can easily break in this palisade and walk in. And all of your wood is exposed. So in order to correctly play this map, what every player was doing was first walling the wood to secure it. So you are going to see that every player will focus on securing the wood line to avoid the enemy to raid it. Then they are just going to push the walls from the wood to the TC and from the TC to the edge of the map to deny enemy the access. Right here, MBL start making scouts. He is Indian. Liereyy start making scouts. He is Tatars and facing Indians. MBL is probably doing the similar stuff here. See? Also walling the wood line towards the TC. Both players took away some villagers from the goat, so they only have 3. Liereyy already starting archers, MBL not for now, but adding more villagers to the gold. Oh, so MBL's strategy was actually to collect lots of gold to buy his way to Castle Age. Doesn't seem to be working so nice. Lots of raidings were the meta here. The walls that I told you, from the TC to the edge and from the wood to the TC. Liereyy trying to defend himself, but MBL constantly raiding him. I believe that MBL was one of the best raiders, let's say, so, from Red Bull. He's about to reach Castle Age, and there's a thing that I would get your attention for. Indians already have 1 extra pierced armor on their light cavalry line, so this means that they have +2/+2 light cavs just by making 1 upgrade even during Feudal Age. So those light cavs from the Indians are just a great counter to small numbers of crossbows on early Castle Age, even without having to upgrade the +2 armor, the regular one, which would give those light cavs +3 armor in total. So MBL is able to defend only using a few cavs. Liereyy making here a transition to go for cav archers, and MBL is slowly making more camels. Camels versus cav archers, and MBL booming, added a second, now a 30C. Indians seem very powerful in these open maps. I believe that Indians would only have some trouble if they had to deal with Mesosieves. There we go. Liereyy messing on cav archers, MBL messing on camels and starting to make scorpions. But the thing is, MBL is heavily out-booming Liereyy. He's already with 40 Cs and Liereyy is not confident enough to raid him. So that's how the Indians actually build their advantage. They out-boom their opponents while they are oppressing them only by having camels. Both players go into Imperial Age. Liereyy thinking already about dropping barracks and start making some helps. MBL for now? I do not see anything. Only a few elephant archers. That's actually good, elephant archers. And man, that's one of the most beautiful games from MBL. He's actually going to kill Tatar because elephant archers can kill most of the compositions that the Tatars can do. How can you kill elephant archers? Hello, Mr. Oba. This game now is a masterpiece, exactly, man. There are some units that are very situational, and the elite archer elephants are one of those units. It surprised me to see MBL using them, but it makes total sense because look at Liereyy. Liereyy has a few pikemen and cave archers. If MBL is able to mass enough elephant archers, he cannot kill MBL. MBL has a unit that can endure the arrow fire from the cave archers while also countering them, and they have so much HP that if they get their number increased, there will be no chance even for the halberdiers. He's upgrading chemistry, he's upgrading tumbling. Now he's dropping a big pack of elephant archers. Look at those guys, man. 3+4 armor, but he's upgrading even more. So they are going to have around 3+6 armor, which is a total of 9 pierce armor. How can you kill these dudes here using arrows, man? They're just too resistant. Oh my goodness, how can Liereyy win this game? This is just beautiful. I think that the whole purpose for MBL existing in Red Bull was to make this game. This is a piece of art. This is not a game. I agree. That's a piece of art. Monks? Well, monks are good, especially in the early game. But once the game starts to get too late, do you have enough time to micro like 20 monks here? And what if MBL just adds elite skirmisher or roosters to his composition? Are you still gonna trust the monks? And now you can see that MBL is even making Fate to deny the monks more effectiveness versus the elephant archers. He's basically ignoring the castles, advancing here slowly. Halberdiers don't come close. Cav archers fire but do no damage. And that's the GG. Liereyy has no counter, man. That's a beautiful game, man. Look at this. That's so beautiful. You can see that he's trying monks, but as I said, can you micro enough to kill around 40 elephant archers, 42? Can you micro this amount of monks? And especially after the Indians upgrades such as Fate, it's very difficult to keep the conversions. So, very well played. I often forgot that elephant archers are such a hard counter to infantry and also to cave archers. I believe that they fall apart for civilizations that have access to Revi camels. I haven't tested, but I believe so. And siege, Revi siege. So a Celt, a Slav could probably just mass onagers and or scorpions and kill those guys before they could be massed. What a gen, man. Yeah, Lord Yorick, you missed that. You totally missed it. Little boy Oba for you. Oh no. Great Oba, man. Great Oba. Oba the Great. The most lovely mustache in all the community. So guys, we saw some games from Liereyy versus MBL. I just want to see once again which build exactly he used it to go scouts here in this game, in the Frigid Lake. I want to pause and see every small movement that he did on his build. So in order to play scouts, you must manipulate your economy. This is the economy as it starts on Empire Wars. 28 villagers, 12 villagers on the wood, 12 on the food, 4 on the gold. So how is he going to play to go scouts? He starts making this table and he makes it forward. He directs some more villagers to the berries to have at least 6. Bring more ships to the TC. He's keeping the ones in the wood. He adds more villagers to the food and keep a minimum amount here on the gold. And but he's keeping this minimum amount, guys, because if he wants to, he can fight here in the dock. I want to see when he's going to make more upgrades and more stuff. He's adding scouts, don't stop. $60 villagers on food, 30 on the wood. He is now starting to add farms, and no horse color. That's something that truly gets my attention. Liereyy is not an economy player, he's an army player, so he rather have one extra scout and all these farms to have less food. He often doesn't upgrade horse color. I think I get it. It's a very different style. I don't see much players doing. People usually forget to make the upgrade, but they do not do it on purpose. Esse aí já foi. Já foi, cara. Tava só dando uma olhadinha na que ele mexeu na eco no começo. Let's take a look on the series versus...
Hey Stark, we got a new sub, man. Thanks the dude before, he regretted.
Winchester. Oh, Seth, valeu. So guys, let's take here a look versus Winchester. I heard from some commentary that this was one of the best series that we could watch. We are going to start this by the game on Runestones, which is Vikings versus Tatars, and I believe that this was one of the most worth watching games because there's a decision here. There's a game, I analyzed a game on the past week from Ellie's Invitational where Viper and Liereyy played this exactly matchup on Ghost Lake. So Liereyy played with the Vikings and Viper with the Tatars. What happened in this matchup? Viper just mimicked the army that Liereyy made. So Liereyy went for crossbows, he went for crossbows. Liereyy went full crossbows, Viper started making lots of elite skirmisher. Liereyy goes to Impure Age, Viper starts to add in castles and more army to counter him. And in the end, Viper was able to reach a full army composition for the Tatars. And this full army composition was stronger than the full army composition for the Vikings on Impure Age. There was no time advantage or anything else. But currently, Liereyy seems to have understand something else about the Vikings because he's winning every game with the Vikings. And he had this matchup two times. So that's something that I want to understand, how he's doing that. Let's start here, and that's a regular archer range start here by the Vikings. He starts to wall. You see? I have important message here. You that play team games here on Definitive Edition, and you have that ally of yours that doesn't wall, that always die or complain about 2v1, show him this game. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, exactly 5. 5 villagers making palisade walls for Liereyy. Do you think that Liereyy has some issue to micro that? He has none. And by the way, this is the game versus Hera. We just skipped the series versus Winchester. Fuck Winchester. So go for the full walls, guys. Do not waste time, fully wall yourself. So there we go, we have archers being made here by Liereyy. He's about to attack Hera. Hera also making archers, only one archer range. He added a lot of farms, he made no horse collar. Now he click it up, horse collars being made. Massing archers on both archer ranges. Skirmishers as well. Okay, so archer and skirmisher composition here for Liereyy versus full archer composition for Hera. University for Liereyy. Crossbowman. This is something very difficult, you know. Whenever you're fighting a Tatar, this is the moment of the game that you do not want to be trading army versus army, because Tatar has the tumbling, so he has more accuracy and more speed. So Liereyy is basically waiting for ballistics and avoiding a direct fight versus Tatar, especially since Tatar has the upgrades and since Tatar is using the heal. What a nice micro. How does he do it? He moves and stop. He patrols and stop. Patrols and stop. Oh, I see. So that's how he dodges some of the arrows. He patrols to the side and stop. Patrols and stop. Patrols and stop. Patrols and stop. When he patrols, he starts a movement with the crossbows. Enemy crossbows are going to target the location for which his crossbowmen are moving, but when he hits stop, the arrows from his enemy miss. So that's his technique to dodge ballistics. I can understand the concept. Applying it is a whole different thing. I want to see it again. He's going to patrol and stop. Patrolling. Making now a mangonel. Oh, now that he has a mangonel, he can even pressure his enemy back. Very good. He's keeping 15 farmers. He hasn't added a single extra TC, so he is playing only one TC. And if we take a look here on Hira, Hira has already dropped 2 new town centers. So Hira is developing his economy while Liereyy is forcing all in a 1 TC strategy. Second mangonel, more archers. No second TC for Liereyy, who's now making a market. He's probably going to sell resources and okay. So that, guys, is how he was able to exploit the power of the Vikings. He just went for 1 TC, used the market and clicked fast to Impure Rage. While Hero was developing the eco and getting a huge eco lead, Liereyy decided to stop the trades here with the crossbows and actually click Impure Rage first. So this is the kind of movement that I want to see made more often. It's honestly very good. Oh, thanks Brew for the rating. We're watching some guys playing here. I'm watching the Red Bull games between from Liereyy. Traded Mangonel for Mangonel. He's just camping. Hira probably realizes that Liereyy is going for the Impure Rage. Now that he clicked to Impure Rage, he's investing into a second TC. He's not in a hurry, guys, to drop more TCs. He's not in a hurry. Because he will have the Arbalest to pressure his enemy. And what can Hero do versus Arbalests? Maybe a few elite skirmishers. Maybe drop a castle to defend some area, but he has no access to stone. This is interesting. Big fight. Well played. Impure Rage here now for Liereyy, who's already making some battering runs. Hero tries to switch to Skirmisher, but the extra range from the Arbalest is too huge. Capped runs killing every possible counter that Hero is making. Meanwhile, Liereyy, who dropped the second TC, is just booming here with double TC, is still keeping 3 archers, double siege workshop, and just advancing and killing all his enemy buildings using the capped run. Nice defense for Hira with towers. He's still ahead. Guys, at this point, if you stop to think, Hira has a more than 45 villager advantage, and he is starting to make a few Kashik, which is maybe, we can just call it a cheaper knight version. Ah, thanks Brew for that. Big juicy boar. So he was advancing, killing most buildings that he could. Oh, finally a good fight here for Hira, surrounding his enemy Arbalest using both elite skirmishers and Kashik. Remember guys that Hira is still ahead on the villager count. Liereyy has only 2 TCs. And he's just adding more and more Arbalests. The direct confrontation doesn't seem to fit a lot of Lierey's style. Using now his map control to drop a forward castle. Uh-oh. Yeah, basically, well-used Arbalests can kill it. I feel like this 1 TC approach from Liereyy was exactly what he needed to do versus Viper in the Invitational. Instead of allowing Tatar to take the game to the post-Impure Rage, he just went Impure Rage straight away with 1 TC and forced the game to happen here early Imperial Age versus a full Castle Age, where he had the technology advantage of chemistry, the +4 armor. He didn't have enough resources for the siege run, but only using Capet he could still kill most of his enemy buildings, constantly raiding the woods. So that's a nice style, but I believe that it requires a very high level of army control on your archers. The same control level that Liereyy showed on this match. I will leave this for Brew and people like him. Still, interesting to understand how his style works. Let's take a look on the games versus Vinch. We are going to type Vinch. Those are games from Vinch. Oh, have replays, old replays from Winchester. We do. Whatever. Where is the Frigid Lake? Rune Stones. Oh, this is the wrong one. This is actually Liereyy versus Hira, but it's saying that it's versus Vinch. My bad, downloaded the wrong game. Whatever. Let's watch the ones versus Winchester now. We can find this game later. So they are playing this map which is called Meadow. So basically guys, in Meadow, this is a map that in my opinion is designed for cavalry civs. The reason is there are only 4 big woods on the map. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are some small, but you cannot even consider those wood lines. They are more like emergency wood supplies, but nothing that you can win the game with. And the wood lines are very far away from the TC, so there's plenty of space between your lumberjacks and your TC. Which means that this map suits raiding, this map suits scouts, so most players are going to use civilizations such as Franks, Magyars, and so on this map. Right here we had a matchup between Bulgarians and Magyars. So let's see how this went. There comes Liereyy, trying to force some fights here using the Magyar scouts. Lost some villagers here to Winchester. He's trying to kill some to compensate, he killed some. That's a very aggressive map, both players taking on enemies' fields. Winchester already switching to some archers. Liereyy investing into a second stable, so he wants to play full scouts. Now adding a third range as a first archer range. Scouts are raiding non-stop, and this is something that you should expect from this map. I believe that both players have lost more than 6 views already, guys, to each other. Oh, finally some wall approach here by Winchester. He realized that he wouldn't be able to defend this forever, so he walled the wood line. He's dropping a tower, but this means that pretty much he has no more stone, and Liereyy can now try to hit his farms. Of course, he has the farms around the TC. The TC is on the hill, so it might be easier to defend, but still, that's some pressure. We have only 2 stables for Liereyy. He's picking a big fight. He's slowly killing a few infantry units using these archers. And by the way, I didn't mention, but his scouts are fully upgraded. Winchester scouts have both attack and defense upgrades, but no bloodlines. Archers with fletching. And, okay, fully upgraded spearmen as well. Yeah. A lot of scout pressure. Winchester is having to deal with a huge amount of idols. He's losing villagers beneath the TC. Liereyy won't stop sending army forward. Liereyy had a lot of idols and he's 10 villagers behind. This game is pretty much over by now. Holy crap. So maybe double stable works here. Liereyy is the first to click up to Castle Age. He's even adding a third stable. Upgrading the gold mining upgrade. upgrading horse collar. So that's a personal trait of Liereyy, guys. He never does horse collar on Field of Age. I don't know why. I don't know if this is so effective. He's trying now to make some walls and limitate the ratings that Winchester can do. He's forcing now the light cabs here on Winchester defenses. He also has some archers, crossbows now. And that's the GG. Very aggressive approach, so Magyars, probably a civilization that you should always look forward whenever you're playing that. Oh my goodness, a lot of games versus Hero, bad renamed here. And twice the same game here. What the fuck I'm doing? Forget this, let's see the games versus Hero. I fail in downloading the games. Khmer versus Magyar on Frigid Lake. Should we go for that? Should we stop for today? Britons versus Incas.
It's a follow.
Actually, let's see one more game with Meso Civs. And then, guys, I will play some. I won't finish watching all the games today. That's a Meso Civ, the only Meso Civ that was drafted during the finals, because both Aztecs and Mayans were banned. We had Liereyy trying to play Britons here. Classic open with archers. And Liereyy playing the Eagles, trying to raid and disrupt Liereyy from walling. Whoa, very annoying Eagles, huh? Liereyy was going castle but was still open. Hero had 3 barracks spamming Eagles. Added a second barracks, so we are going to see long swordsmen from Liereyy versus Eagles from Hero. Monastery for Hero. He's still trying to raid. Long swordsman following the Eagles. A second monastery. So pretty much what Hero is saying is, I want to make bonks and convert back the long swordsman for myself. Starting our archer range, Hero is making scorpions. Liereyy trying to defend. Scorpion seems very effective. Slingers, monks, scorpions. A very different army composition here. Well, seems to be working. I'm honestly impressed. Liereyy Zico constantly idling. Hero playing full want to see YOLO. Despite playing want to see, Hero is still ahead on the villager count. Bringing views forward, maybe he adds a castle there. Nice castle. And that's it, guys. So you pressure your enemy with eagles fully. There's no counter in the beginning because there's no time to mass enough archers. And even if your opponent goes for the counter, such as the long swordsman, you keep raiding and you start adding your own counters such as monks, scorpions, and so on. Technology time for both players, 8 minutes to castle. So if you are going to play Empire Wars, try to get yourself a build order that allows you to reach castle age around this time.